Different energies weave their way through the zeitgeist of humanity at different times. At least they're more prominent. Have you ever noticed that before? Like if you think of honor and go back to the samurai, that was such a prominent virtue, front and center in that culture. And then come to present times and the energies of illumination, for example, or truth as this mass awakening happens and more people turn towards a way of seeing the world that is post-materialist. I'm listening to the podcast, the telepathy tapes right now. And that is the perfect example of something moving through the collective that is just blowing people's minds and opening people to a new way of seeing the world and moving us closer to truth. And there's an energy that I'm feeling deeply right now, and that I think is really important and that we're missing out on as a culture. And it's actually, when I contemplate this energy, I go back to the Sufis and their language of the beloved and their just intimate poetic connection to God. Sufis call God the beloved, and um it's like they personify, and there's this, this all sorts of different love, this relationship love, the eros, the philos, the friendship, the agape, the God love. The Sufis have many, many, many different words for love. And they see it in everything. They see it in the last leaf of a tree falling to the ground. They see it in a crab crawling out into the water. They see it in a daughter looking into the eyes of her father. It's everywhere and it's present all the time. And that energy led them to this devotional quality, this deep, deep longing and desire for unity, of coming into oneness with the Godhead. And devotion has lost its popularity. Oftentimes we think of devotion and we think of somebody like giving themselves over to a guru, and often at their own detriment, right? They're so devoted, it harms themselves. They're so devoted, it's like they're crazy, right? We see the fundamentalist Christian as somebody who's devoted. Somehow the word has taken on this quality of someone who is dogmatic and someone who doesn't embody the ability to connect with the rest of the world because they're too enthralled with this thing. And true devotion, you become so unified with the thing that you become connected to everything, right? The devotee and the guru, if you will, merge, and all that's left is the love. And that's the thing that connects all of us. And I've been thinking so much about devotion because there's another piece of it, which is sacrifice. And I know that sacrifice is required in order to fulfill my purpose, right? In order to fulfill what God has brought me here to do. And in the past, I've struggled with making those sacrifices. And I've realized that it's because I was making the sacrifices for me. And that, for whatever reason, was never powerful enough. And even now that I've come into a deep self-love, not total, not complete, but we're getting closer. And still, it's not enough of a motivation. It's not enough of a drive. It's not enough of a fire in my belly to show up and do the things that I know that I need to do and the things that I want to do. That's the other piece is like, there's a part of me that wants to do these, that wants to wake up at 5 a.m. and do all my practices and meditate and read. And then there's another part of me that wants to hit snooze. And so the way that I've been able to, for the first time in my life for an extended period of time, really and truly give myself over to my higher evolution, my higher self, is through the energy of devotion. It's through recognizing that I'm not doing this for me, that I'm doing this as a higher calling by God. And so I guess that's the question I have for you today is your devotion where it needs to be? For all the things that you say that you want to manifest in the world, and it doesn't need to be like me, a devotion to God, although I think eventually all roads lead to Rome, as they say, but it can be a devotion to bringing to fruition a business that you have. It can be a devotion to your partner. It doesn't matter, you name it. As long as you are fully committed and give yourself over completely to that thing. And the question that I have for you is, are you really doing that? Honestly, can you do a self-assessment and look and say, I'm doing everything in my power to manifest this on this plane of reality? I don't know if that's the path for everyone, but I know that it's the path for me. It makes me mad, honestly. Because I look around and I judge that so many people are just kind of winging it. You know, they've found success without needing total commitment and focus and drive. And it could just be totally wrong in my judgment. But for me, my path is total 100% commitment and devotion. And in that way, things will begin to open. And I think it has something to do with my 6-line energy, this role model energy that I try and hold and carry. And it's my belief that it's my aura, it's my way of being in the world, not what I'm saying right now on this video, that opens people up. What you see right now is what you get. This is who I am. It's how I am. And I really think that it is this embodied presence that I'm really working hard right now towards, that is beginning to have the impact that I want to see in the world. The things are growing, things are moving in my world right now. And in some respects, they're not, right? The audience continues to grow. The impact that I'm having with the people that I work with in this beautiful container that I have continues to grow. More conversations, more parts moving, all of that. And the money hasn't come in a few months. And that's okay. Luckily, I had enough from the big burst that I got back in September, October. And I think that's part of the devotion, right? If you are truly and really committed, if you know in your heart of hearts that you have given yourself over to this thing and that this thing has given itself over to you, well, then you just trust that whatever you need is going to be there when you need it, so that you can serve your mission, so that you can serve your purpose, so that you can keep your energy and frequency high. And the sacrifice of devotion is a sacrifice that needs to be of the proper quality. If you've ever read the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, that's a manifesto on quality. If you haven't read it, check it out. But the story of Abel and Cain from the Bible example tells us that some sacrifices are acceptable to God and some sacrifices are not. Now, It's my belief that you are the God. And so there's not some other being deciding whether or not that sacrifice is good enough. It's you. You internally, did you actually sacrifice to the level that you needed to sacrifice to bring about the thing that you needed to bring about in the world? Or did you fall into the cycle of pain and pleasure of your five senses, chasing out things that feel good, overindulging in those things, going back into the pain cycle, and this constant swing? Because this universe is all about balance. And the devotional energy is an energy that keeps me in the center. It stops me from swinging from side to side. And I used to think that it was going to be too ascetic. Is that the right word? Like somebody who gives up earthly things. I thought that it would be that way. But what I'm finding is that it actually just refines my consciousness and awareness so that little things feel even more intoxicating and even more ecstasy. And then there's moments in meditation where they don't make a drug that's that good. And it all stems from this devotional energy of every action that I take, moving me closer to remembering what I truly and actually am, embodying that, and therefore impacting all the people that I interact with, all the people that watch these things that I do, the people that I work with, my daughter, my family, my partner, all of it. And it's a high and heavy ask at times. And I've learned not to beat myself up. That's another part of this is we're human. And as devoted as I want to be, at times the humanity wins. The humanity takes over. And I just submit. Or maybe something appears in my field of awareness that is just something that I cannot deal with. And I look away, even though I know that God put that into my view for a very particular purpose and reason. And I used to get knocked off track, and it would take days, weeks sometimes before I could find my way back to center because I got into this negative self-talk loop of just beating myself up, beating myself up, beating myself up. And that's no good because that just takes you away from the devotion for even longer. So inevitably, as we fall off the horse, part of devotion is doing everything in your power to get back as soon as possibly can. And that means loving yourself, allowing what you did, accepting what you did, accepting it not even just for what it was, but accepting it for a lesson, accepting that it was something that you needed to do because it's what happened. And so something there, it sharpened your sword. It made it so that this devotional energy can continue to spiral upwards. Sometimes we have to come down a little bit so that we can find some humility, learn a lesson, and then we can start to spiral our way back up again. But this devotional energy is a beautiful one. And it really takes self-honesty. We're real good at tricking ourselves, telling ourselves that we're being devoted, that we're doing everything in our power. But in our heart of hearts, if we really look, at least this is the case for me. I told myself that I was doing everything in my power, and I was doing a lot. And honestly, sometimes too much. That's also devotion means honoring what's true, not just constantly pushing and working. That's not what I'm saying here either. Devotional energy is not constant go, 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 go. It's constantly honoring what needs to be done for the thing that you're devoted to, which oftentimes is rest. Oftentimes is openness, exploring, hibernating. I lost the last thread that I was on. So I guess that's it then. Thank you for being here. I've got a wisdom call coming up this week that is on Thursday at noon. It's a free call. I do them on Google Meet and show up, ask questions. I'll talk about some stuff probably and go from there. All right. Thank you for being here. Till next time.